But there's no safe routes, so some of them
There are
come in
safe routes, they're called planes.
For whatever reason, they're choosing to come over with people traffickers.
No.
They are the problem, it's the people traffickers.
Is this an invasion that we're talking about?
Absolutely. And it took me a while to sort of come to terms with that word, because I understand the connotations behind it. But when somebody comes into your home and they're uninvited and they've come through the back door or through the window, they've invaded your space.
Who are we talking about when you say when they come into you? Are you talking about them as a group or as individuals?
Let's just go firstly to an individual, and now let's expand it to a country. So you've got...
Because some of the...
Well, there you go. This is GB News Originals. I'm Emily Carver. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And do leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
Those people clearly are asylum seekers.
Yes.
With the right to seek asylum. International law dictates that they can. So you including them as part of the invasion?
Absolutely not. What I'm saying is anyone crossing the boat, on the boat, illegally coming in, that's an invasion because you're breaking British sovereign law.
But there's no safe routes, so some of them
there
come
are
in
safe routes, they're called planes.
For whatever reason, they're choosing to come over with people traffickers.
No.
They are the problem. It's the people traffickers are selling the opportunity to come to this country.
The safe routes are called planes.
A lot of those people have not got the money for planes because they've been...
Oh, it costs £6,000 to equivalent to actually get on that boat.
They haven't got the documentation to be able to fly.
So therefore you go the illegal route.
But a lot of them are entitled to asylum. A lot of them may be victims.
They can claim asylum in France. They can claim asylum in Spain. They can claim asylum in Italy, in Greece, in Germany.
But that's the kind of narrative that causes moral panic.
But it might be the kind of narrative that actually has some truth in it, Carolyn, where you can say,
I mean, talking about people coming through the back door, your window, that you'll have people suggesting that asylum seekers are getting off a boat and breaking into your house. That's what will happen. I know. I'm on the receiving end of this.
You're using this language defence.
You use the language.
No, you're using a language defence to actually get away from what the actual issue is. 14,000 people who've drip, came through illegally from Calais to Britain, all right? That's illegal.
And we are returning them slowly.
No, we haven't. I mean, your Labour Party's return scheme has only returned less than 100.
Well, it's more than the Rwanda scheme.
The Rwanda scheme was never allowed to take place because of an election.
No. Come on now. It's also not the numbers that we had returned under the Dublin Agreement that we had under Brexit, before Brexit as well. So we did have a mechanism to return them to the first country where they were registered.
So now you saw,
and they wouldn't accept them if
you saw in Sintra just the other day where the massive amount of young men and women crossed over the territory and they were returned within a day.
Okay.
They were returned. We want to do the same thing. Now, I don't agree with Nigel Farage at all.
The English Channel is not merely a stretch of water. It has become the ultimate theatre of British political posturing. Welcome back to Britain Underneath, the place where we strip away the parliamentary theatre, bypass the carefully curated press releases, and examine the raw mechanics of power operating beneath Westminster. Let us dive right in. If you enjoy sharp, unfiltered analysis of the real forces shaping modern Britain, do take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Your support is vital in keeping this independent reporting alive and helping our community grow. For years, the political narrative surrounding small boat crossings and channel migration has been dictated by theatrical promises. Politicians stand behind podiums, deploy grand military terminology, and promise rapid solutions to complex structural problems. Yet behind closed doors, civil servants, legal analysts, and border security commanders recognize a starkly different reality.
The issue is not a simple lack of political will or toughness. It is an intricate web of international law, diplomatic bargaining, operational capacity, and law enforcement logistics. Consider the ongoing debate over safe routes versus illegal entry. Critics frequently point out that those arriving on small craft are breaking British sovereignty, bypassing legal entry frameworks and ignoring safe transit countries across Europe. The argument appears straightforward on the surface. Why cross one of the busiest shipping lanes on Earth in an inflatable dinghy when legal mechanisms exist? However, when you inspect the mechanism beneath the surface, the clarity dissolves. Legal entry routes into the United Kingdom are tightly restricted and targeted toward very specific geographic crises or designated schemes. For the vast majority of individuals fleeing turmoil across the wider globe, there is simply no formal visa application queue available at a British embassy overseas.
If they drown, is that your fault? Is that my fault? I don't think so.
So, Jean, just to be clear, you would let them down, you wouldn't let them drown?
I would suggest if you make the perilous journey from a safe country like France, you are taking a risk that you may lose your life.
Not everyone wants to come to Britain. You seem to think that Britain is the beloved land. It's not.
We are one of the smallest countries
and we're taking the smallest amount, Jean. You need to know your facts. We're not taking all of the immigrants in the world.
Let's let Jean answer.
We are one of the smallest countries and also one of the most overpopulated.
Jean, can I ask you a question very briefly? Can I give you a scenario and then you can answer the question as you see fit? A group of migrants in a boat, 70 migrants in a boat, they're crossing the English Channel and they get to the line between French waters and British waters, and the French usher them over, and then the Royal Navy are there and they stop them, and the boat capsizes. In your view, Jean, what does the Royal Navy do at that point?
Well, what does the Royal Navy do? I mean, the Royal Navy would be doing its job, and if, unfortunately, these chances, and they are taking a chance, they are taking a risk, if that doesn't bode well for them, then it is not our fault, it is not the Royal Navy's fault.
So just so I understand you correctly, just so I'm really clear on it, they drown?
Yeah. If they drown, is that your fault? Is that my fault? I don't think so.
So, Jean, just to be clear, you would let them down, you wouldn't let them drown?
I would suggest if you make the perilous journey from a safe country like France, you are taking a risk that you may lose your life.
Yeah, but that's very different from standing there watching them drown. Jean.
And also the Royal Navy can't actually do that legally, Jean. It's their legal responsibility that they have to save life.
OK, Jean, you've brought up ever such a lot for us to talk about. Thank you so much for your call.
To claim protection under British jurisdiction, an individual must physically set foot on British territory. This legal paradox creates a lucrative market for criminal trafficking networks who exploit the absence of formal processing channels by selling passage on dangerous vessels. Let us pause for a second. Take a breath. Stay informed. And if you find this breakdown helpful, please consider hitting that subscribe button right now. It genuinely helps the channel reach more viewers who want serious, deep dive analysis. This brings us to the rhetoric surrounding safe European nations. Under international conventions, there is no explicit legal requirement obligating a person to claim protection in the very first safe country they enter, though transit countries like France, Italy and Germany routinely absorb far higher numbers of claims than the United Kingdom. When British politicians argue that individuals should remain in mainland Europe, they are expressing a political preference rather than enforcing a binding global treaty. During Britain's membership in the European Union, the Dublin Regulation provided a legal framework allowing the UK to request the transfer of certain asylum applicants back to the first EU member state where they were registered. Since exiting the European bloc, that mechanism no longer applies. The UK operates outside the automated European biometric database, removing the primary diplomatic tool previously used to process bilateral transfers. In response, recent governments have attempted to construct fresh bilateral deals. Agreements with neighbouring nations have seen hundreds of millions of pounds allocated toward beach patrols, intelligence sharing, and physical interceptions along the coastline. Yet operational reports indicate a constant game of tactical adaptation. As coastal patrols intensify along primary launching areas, human smuggling networks simply adjust their supply chains, moving operations further north into new launching territories, or utilising heavier, more dangerous craft. Political figures from across the parliamentary spectrum continue to propose radical shifts in policy. Opposition leaders call for heavy naval deployments and immediate maritime returns to mainland Europe. Yet naval commanders and legal experts routinely highlight the extreme operational difficulties of such tactics. International maritime law mandates the preservation of life at sea above all else. Intercepting or forcibly turning back fragile, overcrowded craft in open water creates immense safety risks, while returning individuals to French shores without the explicit consent and legal agreement of French authorities violates international norms. On the government side, ministers point to legislative reforms, increased enforcement raids, and extended waiting periods for permanent residency as major deterrents designed to reduce pull factors. Yet internal figures show that while enforcement actions against illegal employment networks have increased, the underlying economic and geopolitical drivers pushing people across the Channel remain largely unchanged. Take a breath. Stay informed, and make sure you are subscribed to Britain Underneath so you never miss our updates on the hidden mechanics of British politics. When we observe parliamentary debates on television, we are witnessing a carefully managed linguistic defence. Ministers and shadow ministers select specific terminology, whether focusing on border security or humanitarian obligations, to manage public perception and appease internal party factions. Conservative backbenchers press for total operational control, while Labour leadership navigates intense friction between its frontbench policy team and backbench members who resist measures perceived as overly restrictive. This internal ideological split creates a delicate balancing act for any sitting Prime Minister. Announcing aggressive border targets may satisfy national headlines, but failing to deliver those targets due to legal realities or diplomatic friction inevitably damages political credibility. Conversely, pursuing quieter diplomatic negotiations with European partners takes considerable time and rarely yields the quick political victories demanded by the modern news cycle. The fundamental truth operating beneath Westminster is that border policy cannot be resolved by sound bites, aggressive rhetoric, or symbolic legislation. It requires sustained international cooperation, significant administrative investment in border processing capacity, and a clear-eyed assessment of international law. Until political discourse moves past superficial slogans and addresses the structural realities of global movement, the cycle of heated debate, public frustration, and policy paralysis will continue uninterrupted. Thank you for watching this analysis on Britain Underneath. If you value serious, mature, and independent analysis of United Kingdom politics, please subscribe to the channel now and share this video. Stay informed, take a breath, and join us next time as we continue to uncover what is really happening beneath the surface of British power.